Hey there friends, how's it going? David Potts here with Song Notes, and I have a fingerstyle exercise for you today. It's Travis picking specifically, right? That's that picking style where our right thumb is sort of doing this alternating bass note thing. Tricky to learn, but once you get it, you can have all kinds of fun. So I'm going to show you this sequence, right? It's 3 different parts. And for each part, I'm going to show you a simpler version. It's going to keep things a bit more straightforward. Then I'll show you the full version that I just did, right? So if you want to get to that full version, the sort of stepping stone version I'm going to show you first will be a great way to do that, right? So let's get into this one. I do have a PDF tab available for you. It gives you a sort of cheat sheet of everything you need, not just the tabs, but a sort of explainer about Travis picking, some notes about the right-hand bass notes, the right-hand melody notes, and then pages 2 and 3 are going to show the tabs for the full version, which is what I just played, as well as the sort of simpler version, right? So all that's available. It's all over on my website, songnotes.net. I also have an extended sort of members-only video where I do a slow playthrough of both with the tabs on screen if you just want that to study with. Lots of good members-only stuff over there. Check that out, songnotes.net. It's my own website. All the lessons are made by me. Some great sort of PDF bonus downloads for members and all sorts of things. So let's get into this, and I'll show you how to play this little sequence here. All right? So before we dive into the tab teaching you this section by section, I want to do a quick explainer and crash course on Travis picking and how it works, right? And for each of the 3 chords I'm going to talk about, our C, our F, and our G, I want to talk about the right hand technique that's going to be happening, right? And there's 2 dimensions of this. There's the bass notes, which are played with our thumb in a sort of alternating, repeating manner, right? This is our thumb's job. And then there's the melody notes, which are played with our left index finger. Okay, so let me talk about these together in this section here, starting with the bass notes. So for the bass notes, we have our C, our G, and our F. I want to talk about the notes that I'm alternating between. So for the C, the sort of full version that is great to aspire to be able to play is going to be going between the 5th string, 4th string, 6th string, 4th string. And you're going to notice my left ring finger is alternating between the 5th string and the 6th string. This is tricky to do at first, but it's worth practicing, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Great thing to practice. If you're not up to speed with this yet, this is a great little thing. Just practice a few minutes at a time. If you do it even a couple times a day, or even once a day. If you do it every day, your muscles will get used to that motion. The muscle memory will develop really quick if you're steady about practicing, right? Now, if that is tricky for you, you can just do the 5th string and the 4th string. Okay? You're going to notice a couple things. Number 1, I'm keeping my left hand in a C major shape. That's really important because you want to train it to be there, so that when you eventually add other notes, your other fingers are where they need to be. And here's the other thing. You might notice that my right pinky is sort of anchoring itself on the guitar. What that lets me do is sort of play this, and it gives something for my right hand to kind of keep itself sturdy on the guitar, okay? So either do the 5th, 4th, 6th, 4th. Do this one if you can. But if this is too tricky, then just do 5th and 4th string, right? This 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what's going to be happening with our C note, our C chord. Now for the G, I'm using my ring finger down here, and I'm going to be going between 6th string and 4th string. This is nice and straightforward for the G. It's tricky to train your thumb to jump over that 5th string, but this is relatively straightforward, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. A nice thing to practice is go back and forth between the C and the G, okay? And back to the C. When you're ready, you could bring in the C alternating bass note, and go to the G, do that a couple times, and then go back to the C, okay? The idea is sort of challenge ourselves a little bit, but don't challenge yourself so much that it's unplayable. That's not going to be helpful. Now the F, this is a tricky one. If you do the wrapped thumb version of the F, which is what I'm going to be doing, I recommend learning this at some point. It's very, very helpful, especially in this style of playing. I'm doing 3rd, 2nd, 1st on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string, okay? And then I'm wrapping my thumb to get that first fret of the low E string. I have a whole separate lesson teaching you this. I'll put the link for this one on my lesson notes for this on my website. If you can't do that, what you can do is this simpler version where you're just doing the middle 4 strings, no thickest string at all. Now, as far as the alternating bass notes, it's going to be between 6th and 4th string, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. When you do this wrap thumb, you're going to notice you don't need to go like that. You really can get away once you kind of figure it out with just a little bit of a wrap. Sometimes I'm surprised I can get a clean sound, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if that version is too difficult for you, in the meantime, you can do this version. 3rd, 2nd, 1st, right? And we're just going to do 5th string and 4th string with our right thumb. All right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you can, practice that wrap thumb version. Okay? So those are the bass notes we're going to use in the whole rest of the lesson. Now, really quick, let's talk about the melody notes. Now, these are going to be played with our right index finger. You could use your right middle also. I just do it all with my right index finger, though. And these are going to happen on the thinnest 3 strings. Okay? Now, in this diagram, you can see basically I have each chord written out. And the main idea is when your left hand's in this chord shape, what we're going to do is just understand that these are the melody notes we're going to be adding at certain times, right? For the C, for example, we have our 3rd string, right, open, our 2nd string, 1st fret, our 2nd string, 3rd fret, with our pinky, and then our open high E string. Okay? One thing you could practice, for example, is just pulse the bass note, and then bring in these melody notes. Nice little thing you can practice. And this isn't musical necessarily. But what it's letting you do is combine this idea of a pulsing rhythm, the bass. Right? Get used to that. And then bring in these melody notes freely. They're all going to sound good because they're all in the C major chord, except for this 3rd fret note. But even this 3rd fret note, it's a great connector as you go between this note and this note, right? Okay, you get the idea there. There's tons of fun you could have practicing that. For the G, okay, open 3rd string, open 2nd string. Sometimes though, left index finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string. Likewise, left pinky on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. And then sometimes we're going to need open high E string. So again, you could practice. Okay, we're going to use these melody notes in all the sequences we're going to be doing later. So that's what we're going to need for the G. And then for the F, we'll need the open 3rd string, 2nd fret 3rd string, 1st fret 2nd string, and then 3rd fret 2nd string. So that's open 3rd string, 2nd fret 3rd string, right? Left index on our 1st fret of the 2nd string, and then our pinky on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string as well. So again, okay, and if you did the simplified version, if you do this simpler version of the F, you're not going to be able to add your pinky up here. So that's okay. In the simple version of the tab I have, I'm about to show you, I omit that 3rd fret note altogether for the simple F. So that's going to be it for this section. Let's move on into the tabs now and teach this full sequence. But everything I just showed you, we're going to be using, right? So anytime you spend with this, what I just showed you is going to help when it comes to the muscle memory and understanding what is the inventory of notes we're going to be pulling from when we build these arrangements and sections and phrases that I'm going to show you now. Okay, so let's move on and look at how to play this. Let's start with the first of the 3 parts, and I'm going to show you the easy version first, then I'll show you the sort of more full version with much more of the flourish, right? Now, part 1, okay, this is part 1 of 3, right? There's 2 other parts. Now, part 1, this easy version, again, I say easy, I do not mean to diminish the difficulty of learning this, but it's simplified compared to the full version. That's why I'm using that term and I put it in quotes, right? There's 2 things. You're going to notice those circled notes. Those are what your right thumb is doing, okay? So for the C, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, C, 4 measures of C. Then we're going to go to our G for 2 measures, F for 1 measure, and then C. Okay, and that last measure of C, I have it noted. You can repeat it if you want before you start things over again, right? It's a nice little palate cleanser there. But get used to the bass notes by themselves. But now let's look at those melody notes that we're going to add. You're going to notice that in every measure in this first sequence here, all the melody notes are happening on the 1 count. And they're also happening on the and between the 3 and the 4. And that's consistent for all of the parts. And that creates this sort of rhythmic predictability. And from a rhythm point of view, you learn that pattern once, you just apply it to every measure. So here's what part 1 sounds like when you play it, the easy version. That last measure if you want to. Then start it again. Okay, a couple things to call out here. On the 1 count, like I said, of every measure, we're going to be doing a pinch, right? That's where our bass note with our thumb is being played at the same time as our melody note with our index finger, and they're pinching together. You can almost see your fingers. It's like a pinching motion, right? Like you're pinching. I was going to make a pinching your phone to zoom in or zoom out, and but you get the idea. Like you're picking something up, right? So that's always going to happen on the 1 count. And again, that other count, that 3 and count, is always going to be a melody note between the bass notes. So it might be tricky to learn at first, but once you learn it, you can apply it everywhere. And otherwise, we just sort of combine the 2 together. Now, one trick when you're learning this is you could just do the 1 and the 3 count bass notes. Ignore the 2 and the 4 bass notes. And if you notice, that's going to mean your thumb is just staying on the same note over and over again, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That would sound like this. So that's what you're going to want to sort of use as a strategy to get comfortable with things. And then you could do the full sequence of part 1 as far as the easy version goes. That sounds like this once again. Now, let me show you the sort of full version of part 1 here and explain how we can take what we just learned and dial it up a little bit. So it'll be trickier to play, but it's going to sound a lot better for a few different reasons. One is our bass notes. We're going to use that C bass note that alternates 5, 4, 6, 4. I'm talking about strings, right? 5th, 4th, 6th, 4th, 5, 4, 6, 4. And then for the F, we're going to do the wrapped thumb version, which is trickier to do, but it lets us do some cool stuff with adding this note. Okay, so here's what the full version sounds like of sequence 1 here. also notice that I had a few extra melody notes in there, right? It's sort of using what I showed you in part in the easier version, but it's sort of adding some more just to flesh it out, right? To kind of give a bit more detail to the painting, so to speak. So you're going to notice that one of the things we're going to be doing in the second measure, we're doing this hammer on. We're going to do a pinch on the 3 count, but then we're going to hammer on with our left pinky on the 3 and count. Now, if you can't do that, you could just ignore the hammer on and you could sort of just play the pinky note by itself. But I think that hammer on adds a lot of character. And you'll also notice in the 7th measure, I'm doing a hammer on the F on the 1 count. I'm doing a pinch on the 6th string and 3rd string, open 3rd string, but then I hammer on that 2nd fret note of the F, right? And then I add my pinky down on that 3rd fret of the F as well, on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string in the 7th measure. So here is all of part 1 for the full version. Okay? But again, take it slow, and if you can't do it out of the gate, spend time with that easy version first. You know, spend your time there, get used to it, simplify it by only doing a bass note on the 1 and 3 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So to end this, I'll just play part 1 the easy way, so-called easy. Again, I hate using that term here, and then I'll play it again the full version. You'll hear the difference. Okay, so here's part 1, the sort of simplified version. Here's the full version. Okay, it's really like an outgrowth of that simplified version. You get comfortable enough with the simplified version, you're going to find your right hand wanting to add extra melody notes, or your left hand, or your picking hand's going to want to add additional notes at certain counts, and your left hand's going to kind of know what to do. I can put my pinky down, it's going to sound good, right? So anyway, that's going to be the part 1 sequence there. Now, the next part of this video, it's over on my website. I'm going to show you part 2 and part 3. I'll show you the simplified version and the detailed version, and also on my website, I have a playthrough of each from beginning to end, right? The simplified version, part 1, part 2, part 3, with tabs on the screen, and then the full version, part 1, part 2, part 3, with tabs on the screen. All played in full, no talking. If you just want to reference that as something you can use while practicing this, that's available on my website. So thanks to all of you who are supporting me through membership at songnotes.net. This is the first lesson I've made since I've launched membership on my own site, right? I'm offering Patreon membership as well since 2018, but starting now, the best way to support me is through membership on songnotes.net. You get access to these instructional PDFs directly on my website, members-only videos as well. So check that out. I think you'll really dig it. If you're watching this far in my video and you found this helpful, you're going to find all kinds of other helpful lessons over on that site. And I'll include a bunch of Travis picking lessons on there as well if you're interested in getting those. So thanks for watching this far, y'all. I'll see you in part 2. Head on over to songnotes.net. The link's in the description, and I'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.